With winter solstice looming up, it's important to put it in perspective if we can and link it to how our ancient ancestors would have seen it. Now, when I say ancient ancestors, I don't mean ancient farmers. I mean ancient people who go way back, people who are tribal, people who are hunter-gatherers, people who lived close to the earth, and they had the spirits close to them, and they thought in quite a different way to the way we do today. So when winter solstice came around, it was a time of thinking of the sun's death and the sun's rebirth. Now, this is a very old concept, and if you think of death and birth, then you can usually only relate it to human death and birth, or maybe animal death and birth if you have pets. Those you have loved and lost, and those you maybe hope will live again in another dimension. A lot of us don't think of mourning the sun when the sun dies. If you think of the seasons, how we move through them, spring, summer, autumn, winter, traveling through that, we've got birth and growth and youth and maturity and older age. We've got all those things that the human being goes through. Now, when you think of the seasons, they go through that as well. And they go through that with the cycle of the sun. The sun moves through the year, growing. In the Romani culture, we say that Cam, the sun spirit, grows from a baby into a child, into a young adult, into an older adult, an old man, and then he dies at the end of the cycle, which is winter solstice. And then he's reborn again at winter solstice, and then the whole cycle starts over again. And he does this year in, year out, year after year after year. When we reach winter solstice, we tend to take it for granted that the sun is dying and the sun is living again. It's, oh, well, yes, oh, yes, the sun's dying, yes, bye. And hello, he's born again. Not quite like that, but that's how it sometimes seems. Can you imagine, though, what that would be like if applying it to a person we loved? If we lost them, would we just get on and not be bothered about their death at all? Do we disregard the sun's death because we know he will return and bring spring again? Perhaps it's because in our world the sun has become, well, rather too mechanical, something that was once a great spirit, but now consigned mostly to be associated with time. A thing we now believe we can control along with everything else in our civilized world. And of course, we started to do this in the good old days of stone building a long, long time ago. And the megaliths are another story, of course, one I know you'll be familiar with hearing me talk about or complaining about in my videos. But at bottom, taking the sun for granted shows just how much we've lost that personal connection with this great and wondrous spirit, without whom we simply couldn't live. Back in earlier times, we would have seen this as something really, really important, and we would have taken it seriously, probably as seriously as we would if we lost someone. Because if you're living in the wild, you're living with sun, moon, stars, rain, wind, clouds, snow, whatever you're living with, everything you're living with, you take that far more seriously. And the sun is at the heart of that. Now, the sun is the heart. In the Romani language, the sun, Cam, means love. And the sun is all about the heart. Also, never forget that the sun is a member of our family, our ancestral family. For Cam is the oldest and most original of all the fathers we ever had. So we felt a lot more for the son's death, and we mourned a lot more the son's death. And it's my view, because of what I've learned in my own culture, that we felt the son's death more because of the changes. Everything's dying. The trees have lost their leaves. The birds are quite quiet. Everything is silent. Everything is cold. Everything has fallen asleep, if you like. Everything is in that depths of sorrow, in the woodlands, everywhere. And it's my feeling that ancient people would have been exactly the same. They would have expressed that mourning and that sorrow. And there are legends, myths surrounding this. The myth of Yag, the fire spirit, travelling to the sun, to talk to the sun, to bring the sun's light back. That's a big ritual which we go into in the shamanic counselling course. Talk about that more in depth. But it is a big thing that we used to talk about in my family. Yag, the fire spirit, off he goes. Is he going to come back? Is he going to be successful in helping the sun to come back? Because when he goes, he has to travel through the lower world to get to the sun that's in the heavens. That he's just acting out the general death ritual of going through the worst when you die to get to the best, if you're lucky enough, going to heaven. I often say that the old Christian idea of heaven and hell is quite closer to what happens at the winter solstice than maybe some of the New Age spirituality will tell you about, because hell is likened to the lower world. The lower world, in most neo-shamanic disciplines, is not half as scary or nasty or as weird or as bad for you as it was in earlier times. And when you think of the Christian hell, it's sort of painted like that. And in my culture, the lower world is like that. You don't just go there for a jolly holiday. You go there if you mean business and if you want to fight. It's all about fighting off all the shadows and strange things there that can take you for a ride. The Bittyfoki are there, which is the little woodland people, but they join in with that. And they will take you for a ride as well. They're out to test you. They're out to give you what you don't always want. So when Yag goes through the lower world and up to the heavens, he's really going through it. So the people back here would think, oh, I hope he's all right. I hope he gets through it. Because remember that ancient people took upper world, lower world, and everything to do with the other world very seriously. Even though most ancient people were far more light-hearted than we are, there was something about them that accepted the seriousness of these things, even though they might joke or laugh about it. So anyway, Yag goes off and he brings back the sun's light. And when the sun's light comes back, that is the time when we celebrate. That is the time when we say, oh, thank goodness. We've got another cycle. We've earned ourselves another cycle, and then we can celebrate. And that sort of ties in with Christmas Day, really. As on winter solstice, Yag goes off to do his duty in visiting the sun, and then he comes back, and then we start another seasonal cycle. We always see Cam, the spirit of the sun, as the father, and Yag, the spirit of fire, as his son. It's rather a little like the Christmas story, father and son. except it predates the Christian story by, well, quite a few thousand years. And we also consider that down here on earth, that the ordinary ancient person was very concerned about the interaction that was going on between the sun and fire, between those two spirits, hoping upon hope that Yag, the fire spirit, was successful in bringing back the spirit of the sun to us for another seasonal cycle so that we could all live again. And that is why we all considered it so important to keep fires burning while this was all going on, so that we didn't lose that rich and vital connection to the sun spirit, Cam. And then everything starts again, and it does that every single year. And because it does it every single year, we could think, yawn, yawn. I've seen all this before. We've seen all this before. It happens every year. He'll come back. Of course he will. But a lot of ancient people didn't actually look at it that way. They looked at it in the fact that, oh, he's going. Let's prepare. The sun is dying. Let's prepare. Let's send some prayers to him. And let's send all the things we don't want to carry over to the next cycle. Let's send all those things with Yag so he can deposit them for us in the lower world and get rid of all those things that we want to let go of, so that we're clear and clean and free to travel through the next cycle. And then that's going to be nice and new. We can develop wonderful new things and literally start life again. So anyway, winter solstice is a very, very precious and beautiful time for me and my folk. And I hope that you start to see it in a bit of a different, perhaps more ancient light as well, if you can. So I'm going to send everybody a great big sloppy kiss for winter solstice, and I hope your dreams for the next coming year come true. I hope you make some transformations. I hope that you are willing to stretch out, be adventurous, find new things, and look at the ancient life as if it is something that you need, because you do. Come along to my workshops. There's some going on in the next year. And if you want to come on the Shamanic Counselling course where you learn more in-depth study of these things, you will be welcome to join me. There'll be another one starting next year. And I do hope to see you soon. Much love then to you all for this time of year.